Now we come to the authentication server function or AUSF. So whenever user equipment wants to register itself with the network or it wants to make a call, it needs to be authenticated. And this authentication process is initiated by the AMF. But in order to complete this authentication process, two other entities are also needed. One is the UDM and other is the AUSF. So whenever AMF initiates the authentication process, it basically sends the identity of this user equipment to the AUSF. AUSF in turns requests UDM to generate the authentication vector. This authentication vector is generated by the UDM based upon the secret key that is there with the UDM. And then this authentication vector is passed on to the AUSF. And AUSF then passes this authentication vector on to the AMF. Now within that authentication vector there is a random number. And AMF challenges the user equipment with that random number by sending it to the user equipment. After receiving that random number, user equipment generates a authentication response which goes to the AMF and which is then passed on to the AUSF. And AUSF now checks whether it is a valid authentication response or not. Based upon that, AUSF decides that whether this user equipment is authenticated or not.